All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about something called the prevent strategy. Now, I know that can sound a bit heavy, maybe even a little intimidating, but I promise by the end of this quick explainer, you'll see exactly what it is, why it's so important, and how it's really all about support. So let's dive right in. So right off the bat, let's bust a huge myth. You know, when you think of radicalization, you might picture something from a movie, this big, sudden, obvious event. But the reality? Well, it's almost always the complete opposite. It's not like flipping a switch. It's a slow, quiet, and gradual process that usually starts from a place of vulnerability. So if it's not some dramatic movie plot, then what are we actually talking about when we say prevent? Let's look beyond the headlines for a second. The most important thing to get your head around is that prevent is just another part of safeguarding. That's it. It's not about spying or punishment. It's about protection. And this right here, this is really the heart of it all. The whole point is to step in early and offer help. It's about giving support to people who might be struggling long before their situation could ever turn into something harmful or dangerous. Okay, to really get a handle on this, we need to make sure we're all on the same page with the language. So let's quickly define the two big ones, radicalization and extremism, because you really have to understand the what before you can get to the why. So look at that first word, process. That's the key. Radicalization isn't just one thing that happens. It's a path someone goes down where they slowly start to believe in extreme ideas. And notice where it starts, almost always from that feeling of being vulnerable. And that process, well, it can lead to extremism. And these are the actual ideas themselves. They can be political, religious, you name it. But what they all have in common is this dangerous core. They all push for harm, hate, or division against other people. Now, this is a super important point. Having strong beliefs is a good thing. Being passionate about a cause, campaigning for change, even disagreeing with the government, that's all totally normal and healthy. Extremism is something different. You only cross that line when your beliefs start being about promoting actual harm or hatred. All right, so we've talked about the what. Let's move on to the why. Why does someone become vulnerable to this in the first place? The thing to remember is that this isn't some strange alien thing. It often plays on really common, really human feelings. So, who are we talking about here? Well, the truth is, it could be anyone. There's no type. Just look at this list. Feeling lonely, being angry or confused, looking for a sense of purpose. These are things that can affect any of us at some point in our lives. So that begs the question, right? If someone is feeling that way, how does an extremist manage to get a foothold? How do they build that trust and influence? Well, the way they do it is often incredibly manipulative. You can think of it as a kind of grooming process. They don't just jump in with the extreme ideas. Of course not. They start by offering exactly what that vulnerable person is missing. Maybe it's kindness or friendship, or just a feeling that they finally belong somewhere. They build that trust first. Then and only then do they start to slowly, gradually introduce their toxic ideas. Okay, so since this whole process can be so subtle, what are the things you might actually notice? Let's talk about some warning signs. And let's be crystal clear about this. Seeing these signs does not mean someone is guilty of anything. They are just signs that a person might be struggling and could really use some support. So in terms of behavior, you might see someone start to pull away from their friends and family. Maybe they get really secretive, especially about what they're doing online. Or maybe they're suddenly spending all their time with a new group of friends and get super defensive if you ask them about it. And what about what you might hear? Well, you might notice a real shift in their language. A sudden anger towards a whole group of people, for example. Lots of us versus them talk. Or even trying to justify things like violence or discrimination. The key is noticing a clear change in how they talk and what they talk about. Okay, so let's say you've seen a few things and you've got that nagging feeling that something's not quite right. This is the important part. This is where we go from just understanding the problem to actually being part of the solution. Let's talk about what you can do. This is the big question, isn't it? You're worried about a friend, a colleague, a peer. What do you actually do? Well, the good news is your part in this is really, really simple. And the process is so straightforward. You just take that gut feeling, that sense that something is off, and you pass it on. You tell your manager or your safeguarding lead. That's it. You don't have to investigate. You don't have to confront anyone. You definitely don't need to have all the answers. You just need to raise the concern so a professional can step in and help. And what happens after that? This is so important. Any support that's offered is totally voluntary and it's confidential. There's a program called Channel, and it's not about getting people in trouble. It's about bringing in experts, like mentors or counselors, to help that person. I want to say this one more time. It is not a criminal process.
Honestly, if you only remember one thing from our chat today, let it be this. This quote just says it all. Safeguarding, whether it's prevent or anything else, is never about pointing fingers. It is always, 100% of the time, about getting people the support they need to be safe.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Because by understanding how vulnerability works, by knowing what to look out for, and just by being willing to say something when you're worried, you are playing a huge part in making your community a safer, better place for everyone. Thanks so much for your time.